Let's go, let's go. Number one fan, how you doing today? I hope you're ready for these beats in the background. And we're going to do some reading. I'm very good, and I want you to use a more elaborative language. How are your toes tickling? How are your eyes seeing the world? It's the wrong stream. That stream for Kenny Boulder is coming up at approximately 30 minutes. Go follow for the Curse cosplay stream. Right now we're gonna... Oh, it's tickling like turtles. Very well. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give you the word for turtles. If you look on the left-hand side of your screen, you see what I use over here. Weblio. It's a great dictionary for grabbing some Japanese words, and also English words. Their definitions and various definitions. As you may know, part of my name is Kame for turtle. So what you can say is Kame. And let's give you the word for tickle. Now this one's a little tricky. But we're going to search down here to find a nice definition that matches the intent of what you're saying and then pull from it the words. And also let's activate Rikai Champ, which is a Firefox plugin that I use to automatically pull up the word, the pronunciation, the actual hiragana, katakana, those things. And they've recently added the pronunciation, so now you can use your pitch accent. So hane, hane. But let's just get back to finding a definition that the plugin is called Rikai Champ. Let me open it up here so you can see it right there. RIKIAI-CHAMP. It's very good stuff. Wonderful. I use this quite often when there's a word that pops up. I'm not 100% sure on, especially the pronunciation. But let's see. Your phrase there. They tickle like turtles. So kame teki na or kame teki ni. Of course, teki on the end of that makes it. And if we're in English, it's the ly ending. So like turtley. You could say turtley. Let's see here. What's a good sentence? You know, tickle. No, that's to tickle. No, I like this one here. It's a little bit passive. This one I think matches. And then using Rikai Champ, we can see again the definition. And it's a nice onomatopoeia word. So what is that? No, I got it backwards. Chiku, 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 suru. So if you want to say they're tickling like turtles, you say kame teki ni chiku chiku suru. Now, of course, I'm not 100% fluent. I'm far from it. So you might want to double check these with someone else eventually. But for now, we're just going to jump right into it. This is a good place to just practice, make a lot of mistakes, and figure it all out as we go. So as the title said, we're going to be doing some news reading. And what I have over here in the middle of the screen, right next to Kinkakuji Temple, right back there, is a website I like to use called, I call it NHK Easy. In short, it's the national broadcaster of Japan, NHK. They put up their news, but in very easy and accessible Japanese. So if you want to see what's been going on recently, type in NHK Easy. You'll come to this. It's Yasashi Nihongo. And you'll get a couple articles in rather plain spoken Japanese. But more importantly is when you hop into an article, you have two buttons up here. Now, some of you may be able to read this and recognize it. The one on the left here, right there, news. Oh, kiku. You can actually listen to it, so you can get real pronunciation. Now, that's nice, isn't it? That's all nice. On the right side, this turns on the kanji with the furigana on top of it. So if you want to give yourself a little bit of a challenge, turn that off and you scan through this. Let me turn off Rikai Champ. That does get in the way when jumping through a little bit. So you come up here, this one, to widen. This is a verb, generally speaking, means to expand, to widen. But the pronunciation changes, right? So if you come across it before or in the future, you're going to find that in different contexts it changes. Here, I'm going to probably say it's hirogateimasu. And it is. Now, throw on Rikai chat. Turn off furigana, so we just catch that. Hirogaru. It gives you the standard form. So this way you can actually go back, figure out what ru verb it is. Hi, Purple Fox. How you doing today? So let's just jump into it. Unless anyone else has questions about how this is set up, how we're doing here. As I said before, not fluent. I'm learning, like most of you. So we're going to just jump into all this, make some mistakes along the way, learn a few things. And again, if anyone's just jumping in, on the left side of the screen, you're going to see Weblio, which is an online dictionary I use on the computer and on my phone. In the middle, we got Easy NHK. It's got concise, simplified news. And for Firefox, we have Rikai-chan, which is a plugin that allows you to quickly identify what the words are, the definitions, and so on. I'm glad you're doing great. I'm glad you're doing great. So let's see if we can make a good stream. We're probably going to do a little short. It's the first time we're doing this. We're jumping into it. We're going to work out the complications. But let's explore this first article. If you're not familiar with what's going on right now, there's a worldwide pandemic and it's shut down a lot of travel. However, in Japan, the government has been trying to stimulate some domestic travel particularly, and they implemented Go to Toraberu, Go to Travel, which is an incentive program to get folks moving around. The efficacy of that is debatable, considering how a certain virus moves around with people. But there's been a lot of controversy over it, you could say, because of that very nature. So if you see at the top line here, we got a mix of everything you're going to find in Japan. You got English, you got some katakana, you got hiragana, you got some kanji. This is a true Japanese sentence right here. A modern Japanese sentence has a little bit of everything. Let's just do a quick breakdown. Go to is, of course, go to. And if in Japanese, it's probably going to say something like iku. And then toraberu, travel. And then 27 hi. Now, with the counters and all that, I'm not great at the counters and how it changes. So I'm just going to say hi for every day. 27 hi made kanseru. Kanseru. You're probably going to be able to hear what that means. Straight up, that's just probably going to be canceled. So from the 27th of this, well, this was published in December. So from the 27th of December last year, and then made is like from. It's one of those that has a lot of different grammatical usages, but in this context, it's probably going to be saying from the 27th. Kanseru, so canceled, and dekiru yo ni suru. So let's just break down with that verb in there. Dekiru, able to, is the potential form. So it's what it's really saying here is kanseru suru, but in a more we say it's probably a probabilistic term. So probably canceled, and then yo ni suru. Let's see, because that's using a verb on there. Yep. Okay. So we see here that we're going to play around with the various translations, but it seems like this sentence is saying "go to travel" is probably canceled after the 27th. But then again, Japanese throws around a lot, and sometimes a negative means a positive. Finding something, yeah. What are you looking for? I hope you find something tasty, but also energetic, that revives the power within you to stream. Let us know what you're Purple Fox, type Purple Fox, what you find. I'm interested in this. Maybe we can also play around with some of the words, translate it over Japanese for folks too. So the first sentence down here, Nihongo chu. Is that Nihongo chu? Nihonju, or Nipponju. So inside Japan, Nippon or Nihon chu, Ju. Chu turns into Ju. Ju. Nihonju de atarashi coronavirus ga hirogatte imasu. このため、国が旅行のお金の一部を出す GoTo Travel は今月28日から1月11日まで止まるの中止になりました。Looks like this is off the bat. Here saying that from the 28th to the 11th, GoTo Travel is canceled. So let's break that down. Let's see what's actually going on here. So as we started with this, through Japan, in Japan, the Chu, read here as Ju, places us inside, physically inside Japan in this instance. So atarashi coronavirus is one way of saying coronavirus. You come across coronavirus, shingata coronavirus. This is just one of the ways of saying coronavirus, and in context, it may be applying to the new strain of coronavirus that's come from the UK. It seems like. And then, as we said at the beginning, hiro for hirogatte imasu is expanding, is spreading in there. So breaking that down. Inside Japan, the new coronavirus is expanding. All right, bad news. How does that relate to GoTo Travel? Well, kono tame. Tame is one of these words I love to use for almost every grammatical usage when referring to a subject that's causing an action. I like to say sometimes it means because or for the purpose of. So here I would, on the first bat, I would say kono refers back to the new coronavirus there, and tame for this reason. I would say tame in this context may mean for this reason or because of this. Koku, country, ga ryoko no okane no, what was that again? Ichibu, yeah, straightforward, ichibu. So travel, money for one portion. So let's see how this looks like it's going to change around a little bit, this ichibu. For the based on the context. Well, dasu. So if there was nothing at the end of this, it seems like the sentence meaning would be for this reason, in the country, the money provided by GoTo Travel to travel to certain parts of the country, has been handed out. But no. One very lovely part about Japanese grammatical structure is throwing the subject or the topic after a preliminary sentence. So all of this up through dasu right here is going to modify GoTo Travel. So for this purpose, let's do a little bit of loose translation. The money GoTo Travel provides across one part of the country, or one part of the money GoTo Travel provides. Here's one of those that gets me a little bit backwards. That's the topic. So the money GoTo Travel provides. That's how we'll translate that right there, until we get a little bit more context. So for this month, so December 28th through January 11th, is stopped. So, 3 major parts of this sentence here, and there's a lot of grammatical stuff we can play around with here. For this purpose, refers back to that first sentence, coronavirus is spreading. Atarashi coronavirus ga hirogatte imasu. That's what kono tame refers to. That's what it means. The money provided by GoTo Travel is stopped. let's break this down. Let's go to the left side of the screen. Here's the core verb. Here's the core verb. Chushi. Suspension. So Rikai Champ, the plugin here, says that these are several interpretations to meanings it can have. Chushi itself, suspension, stoppage, straightforward. It's cancelled. So chushi ni narimashita. Now, if you're a little bit more intermediate, you may notice that this is not just straightforward cancellation. This is actually playful usage of the form, the verb narimas, which often is used as becomes, to become. So it's just another way of saying suru. Breaking it down, that's what I would say. Another way of saying suru. So we'll take that. We'll also take the other core aspect of this, and that's go to travel. We'll grab the reference to money, because that's what's important. The reference to go to travel. And because this is the konotame, let's throw that on here. If we were to break this down, this is what I would say the core sentence is. Atarashi coronavirus ga hirogatte imasu. Go to travel no okane. Let's play around with the forms a little bit. Atarashi coronavirus ga hirogatte iru node. I just put node on here, so I changed this ending to iru just to simplify it. Because of the new coronavirus is spreading, go to travel no okane, go to travel's money, is stopped. Chushi ni narimashita. And that was stopped for this particular period of time, 28th of December to 11th of January. So if you want to take something away from this, let's go with Atarashi coronavirus. That's a good phrase. You'll see that come up a lot in news from last year and this year. Hirogatte iru. Let's simplify that down to hirogaru. Straightforward, simple form. To expand. Let's throw some English on there. And a very useful one. Now, when you're in Japan and saying money, you can probably refer to it in different ways, but a very standard one is just okane. Actually, when putting down a ru verb, something I like to do is actually put it in its form that tells me if it's the rimas or just mas. So hirogate imasu tells us it's rimas. And here's another takeaway. So chushi. And again, we can double check. Yep, chushi right there means stop, cancel. So here's a couple key words we can take away just from this one article. So if you want to say something's been stopped, canceled, chushi is a good form. And of course that's a noun. We can throw suru on the end of that to make it the verb form. And then okane, money, straightforward, lovely word. You're going to use a lot of it when you go travel, most likely. And hirogarimasu, to expand, widen. You can use this in probably most day-to-day context for when you're talking about a whole range of it, of matters. And you know what? Let's explore that a little bit further. So let's go on to the left side to Weblio, hirogaru. Let's find what it says on here. Spread out, extend, stretch, reach. So some of these nuanced terms, you get stretch and reach. All right, pretty good, pretty good. And these are the nice example sentences. So, talk about something that is spreading. Of course, in this context, in the article, it's referring to a virus spreading. We talk about the smell. Smell again. Kaori, kaori, kaori. And also in Weblio, there are alternative forms if you go down further. So that's a quick review down there. Wonderful. All right, we're going to go for a couple more minutes. We're going to go for a couple more minutes, and in that, let's jump over to another article that seems interesting. Let's jump over here. And let's just go through the title. 全部の国の外国人が日本に新しく来る。This one I often forget. 来る。This form 来る。So 新しく来ることができなくなった。There's a lot of playful grammar in this one here. Let's break it down. So first part, zenbu, means all, the entire. So zenbu no koku, the entire country. Zenbu no koku no means the entire country is gaikokujin, foreigners. So that's the subject. Ga denotes the subject. That's what's referring to. Nihon ni. So in this context, it's meaning coming into Japan. Atarashiku. Kuru. So let's go with just atarashiku kuru. So new entrance. So newly coming in. Koto on the end takes a verb and makes it a noun. Takes a verb, makes it a noun. So kuru koto. Kuru plus kuru koto. Kuru plus koto becomes kuru koto, and that means to come in. In this instance, it's come into Japan. So new entry into Japan. Koto ga, that's the subject. Deki naku natta. Several forms in here. So dekiru in the negative, dekina, dekinaku natta, turning passive. Dekinai to make it passive, dekinaku natta. In short form, this article is referring to the new entrance of foreigners into Japan. It's not possible at this time. Looks like they may have closed down some more of the borders there. So, imamade, so let me turn off Rikai Champ so we can follow. Imamade, yori, utsuru. Alright, let's stop here because this interesting verb. You're going to see this in a lot of different contexts. Let's go over to Weblio on the left. Take utsuru, throw it in here. The first definition not going to make much sense. Reflected, mirrored, these first definitions don't make a lot of sense, do they? So when we're referring to people coming into Japan, it's reflected in it goes well with no. These you have to scan down. You have to look at the different nuanced definitions, right? Number three seems most appropriate. However, since this is about coronavirus, it can also mean this version of number three, right here. So let's take a quick translation. Imamade, from today, and this was December 28th. Imamade yori. So according to, or seemingly, yori is one of those grammar points that has a lot of different usage. So imamade, so from, since today, that's what it's probably going to mean. Since today, utsuru, chikara, over here, chikara, so chikara ga tsuyoi atarashi coronavirus. Okay, so we got a couple of compounds going on here. We got tsuyoi, strong, atarashi coronavirus, refer back to the last one, new coronavirus. Remember, new coronavirus refers to COVID-19 because it's the second one. If you were to refer to the one back in early 2000s as the first. So a strong coronavirus. This is the one referred to that's come out of the UK recently, the new strain. So utsuta hito. So let's focus on the end of this sentence here. Utsuta hito. Take this definition. So a person that's transferring through, moving through, who has the new strain of coronavirus. That's what this is. That's what the subject is here. So today, December 28th, as the time of the writing of this article, it appears that the new strong coronavirus was identified in people coming into Japan. Niju hi, or Nijugo hi. So 25th of December, Nihon de hajimete mitsukarimashita. So on the 25th of December, the first time the new strain was identified coming into Japan. So let's break this sentence down just to its core part over here on the left side. We can actually get rid of this first part, seemingly. It's not necessarily redundant, but when you're just learning, you're perusing articles, it's basically redundant in this instance. So here are the three main aspects of this sentence in this news article, really. The new variant of coronavirus, this first part. Tsuyoi atarashi coronavirus. The new variant. And then utsuta hito, or it could be utsuta jin. Let's go back to the article, use Rikai Champ to just double check if that means jin or hito in this context. It's probably jin. So utsuta jin. So a person moving around. You have to play a little bit with the translation here, but a person carrying the new virus, who's moving through the borders. Not just someone who's carrying it, but the context is someone who's moving across borders. Because this article is referring to the first instance, the new variant comes into Japan. And then the third main part of this sentence, oh, light purple fox, return with your food. Wonderful. What do you have? What is on your plate, in your bowl? Look forward to hearing about this. And since you just returned, we've come to a new article that's referring to the identification of the new strong variant of coronavirus in Japan. We're breaking down that first sentence on the article that you see in the middle of the screen. So we have the tsuyoi atarashi coronavirus. Remember, Atarashi coronavirus is the new strain of coronavirus that's identified as COVID-19. Tsuyoi, the modifier there refers to that it's the stronger strain, the new one that identified in the UK. Utsuta hito is essentially utsuta jin. In this context, utsuta jin, a person who's traveling between the borders who's carrying the new stronger variant. And then the main part of the sentence is Nihonde, so in Japan. Hajimete mitsukarimashita. Mitsukarimashita modifies hajimete, so, or I should rather say hajimete modifies mitsukarimashita. So mitsukarimashita being effectively identified, and this hajimete modifies it to be first time identified, and the Nihonde is in Japan, so the first time it's identified in Japan. Let's see, diaper fox right now is Malaysian Soto. Oh, Soto. What? I'll Google that. What's in there? Let's find out. Just dox myself. No. Malaysia. Soto. Oh, interesting. So cool. Coconut milk, some chicken, rice noodles. Ooh, that sounds tasty. That sounds powerful. That sounds really nice. Also, thank you for jumping on here while grabbing a bite. I hope I could provide some info that you find useful. This looks really tasty, actually. I gotta see if anything around here has it. So Malaysia, Indonesia, everyone around there got Soto, some variant of it. I can imagine why. It looks pretty good. Alright, regarding the news, gone through these two. So it looks like the domestic travel program in Japan is currently suspended until the 11th, which makes sense. And then there's a new strain of there's a new strain of COVID identified, the strong strain, that hit on the 25th of December, which translates into why the go-to travel program was ended. So some interesting news, but it's somewhat expected at this time. Oh, okay. So this is also referring to, if you look on the top left, the utsuta jin, people moving around carrying the coronavirus. So, atarashi coronavirus ga utsuta jin, sekai no zenbu no dai kanji ni hirogaru. What's this kanji here? I'm not familiar. Oh, tairiku, continent. So different continents. Oh, you're having chicken and beef. Ooh, spicy. Nice stars. That sounds like a nice choice. So breaking down this title, as we've gone over, atarashi coronavirus, new coronavirus, so COVID-19, ga utsuta hito, or utsuta jin, so people carrying new coronavirus, right? Sekai no zenbu no tairiku, again, tairiku, continent. So it sounds like on every continent, the new coronavirus has been identified. Of course, hirogaru, another word we've been going over recently, to spread. So the new coronavirus people carrying the new coronavirus have now made it spread across the entire world. literally to every continent. And based on this picture, this looks like it was Antarctica, which is probably going to be this first word down here, the bottom. But before we use Rikai-chan to identify it, we can see down here, this kanji has south kanji, and I recognize, but I'm not familiar with it. Dai or tai, so large, and then as we just went over up here, Riku or Riku on its own. Yeah, it looks like Riku on its own as well. So the southern continent, which is probably Antarctica. Nankyoku, Nankyoku, Nankyoku Tairiku, Nankyoku Tairiku. So Nankyoku, Antarctica, Tairiku, it's continent. Throw those two together, you get South Pole. So Kankyoku Tairiku ni aru Chiri. Chiri. Is that a country? Is that a name? You see that it's highlighted in orange, and one thing I like about Easy NHK is at the bottom it tells you what the color codes mean. So orange in this instance, koku ya ken, machi, basho, nado no namai. Orange denotes a name, a proper name of a place, a town, a prefecture, a country. So Chiri. Chiri is either going to be the country or maybe the name of the station. Let's find out. So Chiri-gun. Oh, Chiri-gun. So gun here means armed forces. So the Chilean army, Kichi. Kichi means base. Okay. So the Chilean army military base is 36 people. 36人に新しいコロナウイルスがうつったこと。So, people carrying the new coronavirus がわかりました。So, わかりました meaning understand, understood, to know. In this context means, I would say, come to identify, come to recognize that 36 people from the Chilean army base have brought the new coronavirus to Antarctica. And actually, because it's not necessarily an army base, I would say this is more of just a research station. Even though on first glance, the kanji combination does seem to be the military, but it could be that these bases, these research outposts are used under their military. I don't know the structure there. But I would say the fast translation of this is, it's come to be understood that 36 people are infected at the Chilean research station in Antarctica. Now, so it sounds like someone's brought it there. May not have been these 36 people all in a group who brought it there, but someone there brought it, spread. Unfortunately, now it's literally every continent. So we're going to do one last quick review of an article at the top, and I'm going to transfer this over and host someone else. You may remember Abe Shinzo. Abe last name, Shinzo being first name. Former Prime Minister, resigned on account of health matters a couple months ago. The longest serving Prime Minister of Japan. Looks like he's back in the news. On first glance, this is probably going to refer to the scandal, the alleged corruption scandal for his cherry blossom viewing party, where an outside group improperly paid for expenses for that party. So we're just going to do a quick review up here. Let's turn off the furigana. So Abe Shinzo, Mae, or Saki, Sori Daijin. So Saki or Mae Sori Daijin, Prime Minister. Kokai, de Ayamaru, so he's apologizing for something here. Kotai no ichibu ga 本当で花形。答えの一部が本当で花形。So this is referring to a lot more context that's happening on the political scene over there. He's been in hot water sporadically over recent years regarding this incident of funding for the Cherry Blossom Viewing Party. And previously he provided answers that seemed to be improper or did not have the full truth behind them, rather purposely or not purposely. That's being figured out. So he's apologizing that in the past he didn't have the 100% accuracy in previous answers. So kotai, answer. No ichibu, so part of his answers, some of his answers, ga denoting the subject, is referring to his answers. Honto, really, truthful, de hanakata. De hanakata. De hanakata. So pulling this all back together, he's apologizing for his previous answers not having all of the accuracy, truth behind them. Because this is a long subject matter. I think this would be appropriate for maybe a future episode of Japanese Learn Along. So let's go over to the top left here. And I'm going to just leave you off with another review of these keywords. Tsuyoi, strong, strength. Very useful word. I like it. Tsuyoi, atarashi coronavirus desu. New coronavirus. Utsuta jin. So remember, utsuta is over here on the left bottom side. In this context, the definition likely means someone who's caught the disease and is also moving around with it. Something that's moving around a lot. Because hito or jin comes at the end of this. The verb is modifying the individual. So a person who's caught the disease, moving around with it. And then Nihon de, in Japan, hajimete mitsukarimashita. I'll separate these two out here. Hajimete, first time, mitsukarimashita. Mitsukaru has its own definition. But I'm using a quick translation, which is identification. So found, it looks like, based on what Weblio is saying, it probably means found. Identified, some variant of miru, so identified, seeing it. So first time seeing it. Now, I hope this has been informative, and we're going to do some more of these in the future. We'll play around with the format, see what's out there. But again, also tech-wise, resource-wise, I want to leave you with Weblio. Very useful. On the computer, on your phone. You can download an app, and it's available. It has a lot of good translations, a lot of nuance behind those translations, better than Google Translate. And it has a lot of links to other words that are similar. It has also practice sentences. Really good stuff on there. In the middle, we have Easy NHK, which again, NHK is the national broadcaster. This is their Easy Yasashi Nihongo version of their news. So it's a really toned down version of their news. And if you go into an article, you can listen to it, and you can turn on the furigana, so you can actually see what the kanji is, how the kanji is pronounced, or you can challenge yourself by turning it off. And you can actually link out to the normal news article. So down here at the bottom, I'm raising it to the middle. Futsu no nyuzu wo nomu. Read the normal news. That brings you to the full article, full Japanese, with a lot more complicated kanji and terms. But this is also great for glancing through, seeing what you pick up. And also for Firefox, the browser I'm using, I have Rikaichomp. Pretty good. I've used it for so many years now, I can't count. It gives you the definition, the type of verb, type of noun, how it's used, similar versions of it. And also now has the pitch accent pronunciation. So what I have highlighted here, yoyaku, you can see on the second one, it says Yo is low pitch and yaku is higher pitch. So if you want to sound a little bit more proficient, this is what you use. You use the pitch accent. It also helps separate between different words that sound similar. So I hope you've had a good time. I hope you enjoy your food, or if enjoyed it, if you finished already, Purple Fox. Hope you have a good stream in the future. And otherwise, I hope you all are starting off this new year happily and joyfully, and you look forward to who you're going to become at the end of the year. Until then, until next time, I've been your VTuber uncle, Ojiame, signing off with some chill lo-fi beats. Enjoy.